Artificial intelligence and manufacturing. I have been recently spending quite of the time working with manufacturing companies in Europe, and I have learned a couple lessons I want to share today. Mostly my theme is why manufacturing companies should consider artificial intelligence, even if they think it's a hype or they consider themselves as a little bit old school or old fashioned. For this video, I will be using my article that I published on my personal website. So, referring to that articles, especially when quoting numbers, I want to make sure that it's fact based and trustworthy. This video is mostly for manufacturing managers, so if you are not the one, it's probably a waste of time for you here watching this video and studying what I'm sharing. But if you are coming from a manufacturing industry, that might be something interesting, especially that this is AI in action for driving results. This is a fact-based analysis based on my research and recent experience with European manufacturing industry. One more reason, especially putting so much light on European world here, is because Europe currently is under substantial law regulation that companies needs to take into consideration when they want to introduce artificial intelligence into their business processes. So, why AI matters for manufacturing? Mostly the numbers are speaking for themselves. AI can directly impact the bottom line by 20% is coming from the very simple rule. Every time we talking about manufacturing company, we are talking about the organization that is producing a lot of data. Most manufacturing equipment, part of the manufacturing floor, is now data driven and producing a lot of data. Even the error codes that are sending out by machines in case something get nasty or the machine is about to being maintained, that error codes are data. So this 20% can be either coming from predictive maintenance or from predicting the output. One great example I want to share is that inventory reduction can increase the value of the company by 10%. How? Imagine this scenario, a real case example from my work. You have a prediction software that can take how much items and what's the failure rate per specific time series produced through your manufacturing floor. Based on that, you can predict when the next failure happened in which location, and you can predict also how much supply and demand you are going to meet in the next year. Based on that, you don't need to extend your warehouse capacity because you can consider at least three options. Renting a warehouse, for instance, from Amazon or other locations, buying a shuffleboards, which at the same number of surface square feet can help maintain more products or semi-products for your production. Or third, you might do nothing, especially when the supply and demand prediction are not showing a substantial increase in the future. Based on that prediction, you can control your cash flow and investment money, especially when the prediction is based on good data, which increases the probability that what is predicted is going to happen. So based on that, you can save money. And the research shows that by 10%, that money can be saved, which, for instance, if the company is $20 billion, $200 million capacity, that translates to 20 millions or a relatively bigger amount if your income or your turnover is bigger. So that's one argument, that's more evidence why it's important. Second, what is the drivers for AI adoption in manufacturing, especially sensors availability? There is a plethora of sensors on the market, third-party providers that you can install into the manufacturing floor. One of them are sound sensors. Those can listen what's going on the manufacturing floor and based on the sound predict different things that are about to happen. For instance, the sounds coming from the machine, sometimes we don't hear them because our ears are not able to catch them. Those sounds can predict not only a failure, but a necessity to check the machine before it stops or before it will be sent on a pause and wait for a technician. Second, that might be sensors coming from people. For instance, they may be password codes shouted by people that are saying that, for instance, we are about to finish the semi product and the new delivery should happen in a factory. Third, that might be a sound coming from packaging department that basically we can find out that the specific packaging is about to be broken or it's already destroyed or damaged partially. So that kind of sounds can be catched by specific sensors. The second type of the sensors are visual sensors, basically cameras. They can take pictures of various things, a movement on the machining floor, a movement on the objects, a movement of packaging devices, but also movement or a number of items inside the packaging. For checking processes, that image can be priceless. If you are manufacturing something that needs to be assembled in a customer location, there is equipment necessary for that assembling being done. That is shipped with the main product. If you want to check if there is enough screws or other equipment that is necessary for assembling the part on the customer side, that can be sensed by the cameras, and all the anomalies or missing items can be flagged, and then people manually or robots automatically can make that happen. So that's one reason. All the sensors that we can install, there are smoke sensors, humidity sensors, and a lot of sensors that are available on the market can be a good source of data that AI can catch and process for predictions or self-learning in the future. Supply chain optimization, it's very urgent right now. If you have a supply chain that you control or hire UPS or DHL, you can put sensors into the packaging. Those are driving the data into your factory outside the factory, supply chain logistics. It can help you inform customers when the product is going to come and if it's being transported in a specific environment. So for instance, let's say you are a pharmaceutical company or pharmaceutical warehouse that served other pharmaceutical companies with moving goods from A to B location. By deploying that data on a internal portal, you can either for free on with the price tier share that data with the customers so they are sure that the product is traveling in specific conditions that are sometimes regulated when it comes to medicines and things that are out of the counter in the stores and pharmacies. And they can also see real-time prediction when it's going to get to the floor, especially when it's cross-border logistics, and you need to consider cross-boarding procedures, like if something needs to go to duty and be checked through that and things like that. So that's very important to consider. That's also part of the manufacturing revolutions coming with artificial intelligence. Another thing is that data quality represent a significant change in what it's possible and what it's not. So marketing and sales department, it's a critical part of R&D process. Here is the reason why. If you have 6, 7, 8, maybe 20 sales representatives working on a market with customers on daily basis, and for instance, you don't catch the notes in a digital way, that means that a lot of context is being either destroyed, abandoned, or just lost. That signals from the market processed by marketing and sales department can give a lot of important information to R&D. For instance, if you are manufacturing windows or garage doors, and some of our customers are in the cold part of the country, like north part of the country, which means that they experience a bigger amplitude of temperature that those customers being located in the south part of the country, that where the amplitude is not that big, or if it's still big, it might be beyond the zero or negative temperature. North customers, they might have the same amplitude, but they experience a negative and positive temperature, while south only experience positive, but still with the high amplitude. That tells a lot about what customers expect, especially if you have a direct information during meetings or interviews or surveys that high and low temperatures influence when equipment is available for service and maintenance. If you don't personalize your maintenance service and your after sales service per north and south locations, you probably are going to hit a lot of obstacles and challenges because customers might not be able to open garage doors during winter for maintenance. In winter, garage doors and windows, especially in commercial buildings, require different maintenance. So that's basically data. Outside data, which is weather data, and inside data, which is usage data, how customers are using it up in a pattern. So that data can help R&D department learn if they should come up with the new line or enhanced line of the products, especially for companies and customers located in the north side of the country and south side of the country, which is important part of the R&D and product design process. That influence manufacturing floor. So again, if manufacturing doesn't have that signals coming from the market, what that means to get that signal? It's basically through notes, recording meetings, and analysis conducted by sales representatives. But that number of data they need to collect, it's pretty vast. So if everything should be done manually by sales representatives, that creates a lot of work for them, which is actually taking them away from conversation and building relationship with customers. So you need to equip these people in the manufacturing business with specific tools. For instance, Jamie, it's a European GDPR friendly AI note-taking app that can help to grasp information coming from customer meetings and then translate them to R&D friendly notes, which R&D can then turn out to features of the product and inform a manufacturing that this particular thing is going to be launched next year on the market. That chain, it's important for manufacturing logistics. The reason I'm sharing that is because AI can help only when it's integrated with the supply chain, manufacturing chain, marketing sales chain, and market research chain. AI can not only grab data from one place, but from all of these places, which automatically break the siloed departments and bring the easy flow through all these databases. And that it's possible right now because software like Databricks, Snowflake, or Google providers, Amazon, all of them can help to grasp data sets from different locations and bring one unified options for artificial intelligence models. So what executives should be do, what I'm recommending doing, first of all, strategically specify what we need to do to increase the value of the company. AI cannot be considered a medicine for all pains, but if it's strategically positioned properly, for instance, making manufacturing less waste and most productive, then the other places like marketing, sales, R&D, logistics, and market research can actually empower that process. Second, what I would recommend executive playbook should take off is data foundation. Most companies are not self-confident about their data. There's always something missing, or somebody was migrating from local ERP to SAP or Oracle ERP or all these big providers and has that understanding that we lost that history when the small ERP was on our company through the transition, which is in fact not true because the data is there. Neural networks, for instance, are created for finding patterns inside data, which means that we can actually use something that is not comprehensive, maybe not structurally always comprehensive, but still build that continuity in data using neural networks. Cross-functional collaboration. If executives wants to make the manufacturing working better, the conversation between IT departments, HR departments, board of director departments, marketing, sales, logistic, and manufacturing will become every week common thing. Because if you want to integrate data and get AI working on all your data spread out in different departments, that starts with people collaboration. And this is very important to build cross-department teams to collaborate on that. The next thing is implementation structure. Starting from business problem, which is nothing new, was always on the market. Not starting from a tool, but starting from a business problem and then bringing up the tool, AI models, test them, deploy them. That's probably the best order in the world. It might differ a little bit, starting from the business problem and then building that tool set, a skill set and tool set, not the other way. Another thing that executives should, in my opinion, have in the playbook is workforce development. Most of the AI jobs we need today didn't exist before ChatGPT and AI models. They might be 2, 3 years old. Everybody's learning, everybody's testing and experimenting, but some ground rules still applied, like machine learning scientists, machine learning research, neural network scientists, neural network research, AI project managers. Those jobs existed before ChatGPT and OpenAI released their first ChatGPT model, which means that companies should have probably the intense discussion with HR department how we can use that talent and find them. We don't have to hire them full time, depends on the project scope, but we definitely need to consider them having, which probably will take us to reskilling the current workforce or restructuring the current workforce. Ethical frameworks, it's also important, making sure that this is done ethically and according to GDPR and AI Act when it comes to Europe, or SOC 2 when it comes to United States, and then continuing measuring evaluation. That factors in an executive playbook will help to achieve those 20% productivity increase that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, or this 10% cost reduction, which is proven by research. German manufacturing company, Genmar Automotive Manufacturing Company, reached that 20% reduction in equipment downtime, which represents in the millions in recaptured productivity capacity. The UK manufacturer that implemented AI-powered supply chain management demonstrate that this technology can reduce cost while still keeping the company sustainable. Those are only little cases that I quoted in my article and want to reference them here in this video. All the references to the cases which are publicly available are on my article, which the link will be put in this video description. But what I'm trying to say here is that if you have the discipline in working with AI and have that executive playbook I recommended, your chances to get that results are increasingly high. All the tools I mentioned are GDPR and AI Act friendly, which means that we still need to consider compliance, staying compliant, and the regulations that are working on the current market, which is extremely important from the being responsible AI development. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to this. My name is Arek Skuza. I'm working as a C-level strategy, AI strategy consultant and implementation leader, and would love to encourage you to check my website, www.arekskuza.com. Thank you so much and have a great day.